The year 2025 marks a pivotal moment in American politics as President Donald Trump embarks on his second term. With bold executive orders and policy changes shaping various sectors, opposition groups, legal challenges, and public resistance have emerged in full force. Today, let's dive into the key opposition movements and petitions that have taken root during this new administration and what they mean for the nation. Immigration policies and opposition. Let's begin with immigration, one of the cornerstones of President Trump's policies. His administration has reinstated the Remain in Mexico policy, requiring asylum seekers to stay across the border while their cases are processed. Additionally, a push to end catch-and-release and accelerate the construction of border wall segments has sparked intense debate. But with these changes came legal challenges. Attorneys general from 22 Democrat-led states filed a lawsuit to block the reinstatement of these immigration policies, citing humanitarian concerns and potential violations of international law. Another contentious move was the focus on deporting individuals with criminal records. Critics argue that while the aim is to enhance security, it has led to increased detentions, often impacting immigrant communities disproportionately. The opposition here is robust, with advocacy groups and nonprofit organizations rallying for better treatment of immigrants and asylum seekers. Economic policies and trade tariffs. Shifting gears to economic policies, President Trump has proposed a wave of tax reforms aimed at reducing corporate tax rates and expanding cuts to stimulate business investment. While supporters hail these measures as essential for economic growth, critics warn of the risks of ballooning national debt. Adding fuel to the fire, the administration is considering imposing tariffs on countries like China, Canada, and Mexico. These tariffs are intended to protect domestic industries and promote U.S. manufacturing. However, this approach has sparked fears of retaliatory actions from trading partners, which could destabilize global trade and increase costs for American consumers. In response, several industry leaders and trade organizations have filed petitions urging the administration to reconsider these policies. They argue that tariffs hurt more than they help by raising prices on imported goods and disrupting supply chains. The opposition also highlights how trade wars could harm small businesses and local economies. Social policies and resistance movements. Social policies have been another area of heated debate. The Trump administration reinstated the Mexico City policy, which restricts federal funding for international organizations that provide or promote abortions. While this aligns with the administration's anti-abortion stance, it has sparked fierce opposition from reproductive rights groups. Petitions and protests, like those led by Planned Parenthood and other advocacy organizations, call this a direct attack on women's health and autonomy. An even more controversial move came with the elimination of federal mandates for diversity, equity, and inclusion, commonly known as DEI. In a bold executive order, the administration declared that the federal government will only recognize two genders, male and female. This policy has drawn immense backlash from LGBTQ+ communities and human rights organizations, who see it as a step backward in the fight for gender equality and recognition. Protests like the Equality March have taken to the streets, amplifying voices of resistance and pushing for policy reversals. Environmental policies and climate concerns. President Trump has doubled down on energy production by declaring an emergency to boost oil and gas production through fracking. This move is aimed at reducing energy costs and strengthening U.S. manufacturing, but it comes at a significant cost to the environment. Environmentalists and climate scientists have been vocal in their opposition. Groups like Greenpeace and the Sierra Club argue that these policies undermine efforts to combat climate change and jeopardize international commitments, like the Paris Agreement. Petitions to halt these initiatives have garnered widespread support, reflecting growing public concern over environmental degradation. Fiscal policies and safety net program cuts. Finally, let's talk about fiscal policies. To fund tax reforms and increase defense spending, the administration has proposed significant cuts to safety net programs, including Medicaid. These reductions could severely impact low-income individuals and families who rely on these programs for essential health care and financial assistance. The opposition to these cuts has been fierce. Organizations like MoveOn have mobilized petitions and campaigns to protect Medicaid funding, with one petition alone gathering over 44,000 signatures. Protest rallies, such as the We Fight Back March, highlight how these cuts could widen the gap between the wealthy and the vulnerable, leaving millions without the support they need. Legal challenges to Trump's agenda. The Trump administration has also faced legal hurdles on several fronts. One of the most high-profile challenges was the executive order ending birthright citizenship. Critics argue that this move violates the 14th Amendment, which grants citizenship to anyone born on U.S. soil. A federal judge recently invalidated a decree attempting to strip nationality from children of immigrants, calling it unconstitutional. Additionally, opposition to Project 2025, a broad agenda aimed at reshaping the federal government, has gained traction. Advocacy groups like Common Cause are rallying to protect democratic principles, warning that this initiative could centralize power in ways that threaten checks and balances. In conclusion, President Trump's second term has brought sweeping changes, but it has also ignited widespread resistance. From immigration to economic reforms, social policies, and environmental actions, the opposition has been loud and determined. Legal battles, protests, and petitions reflect a nation grappling with starkly different visions for its future. As these debates unfold, the long-term impacts of these policies will depend on the resilience of democratic institutions, judicial rulings, and the collective voice of the people. What do you think about these developments? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insights on the latest political and social trends.